What's popping with y'all today, man, on this beautiful Friday, man? I was looking forward to having this conversation with you guys about this viral moment. But before we get into that, I got to play the intro, educational intro. If you new here, go ahead and hit the like button, share the content, subscribe to the channel. We're about to have a dope discussion. Let's get right to it.
Economic structure in the simplest form would be a Japantown, a little Korea, a little Italy, a little Havana, which means where black folk would do exactly the same thing everyone else is doing. The reason we never had an economic structure in the country for black folk is for three reasons. One, we never had a national plan and a commitment to do it. Two, is that whites are boycotting black communities, and three, blacks are boycotting their own communities. And that's why you'll never see a white person get in his car, go down to a black neighborhood on a Saturday morning, get out and go into a black store and buy anything made by a black person. But neither will you see any Asians coming out of Chinatown, going into a black community buying anything. Everybody supports their own structure except black folk. That's why out of 36 million black folk, after 400 years in this country, you do not have one single solitary black business district in the entire United States. That is naivete, it is insultive, and it's grossly offensive to black folk because you're creating problems for yourselves by not belling up to the bar and accepting responsibility of amassing wealth and capital, creating an economic basis, creating an entrepreneurial class, creating businesses, creating jobs that will hire your own people, creating money to take care of your own public services, your lights, your gas, your streets.
How do black people start doing all those things if 98% of the wealth is in the hands of the white power elite?
We started working that very simple. We start where we are. We are right now amassing for disposable purposes something like about $380 billion annually. We're still fighting for self-sufficiency and competitiveness in this country, and that we must come together quickly or what risk being a permanent underclass in the society.
One of the alarming predictions you make in the book is along those lines. You mentioned that blacks will be pretty much a permanent underclass in America by the year 2015. Why the year 2015?
2015 because what I've concluded from analysis is that there are going to be a converging of social factors nationally and internationally that's going to place blacks in a permanent status of underclassship. And we anticipate by that point in time, based on all the research that's coming to us, that the next generation of whites are going to be more anti-black than they've been since the civil rights movement. Two, we anticipate by the same token about 86 million Hispanics coming into the United States and about 41 million Asians by that point in time, which is going to kick black folk out of being the minority in the society down to a minority. We've been number 2 in the society for 400 years as a group. We're going to become number 4. And if we have not gotten anything after being number 2 for 400 years, you guess what's going to happen when we become number 4.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.
Man, I hope y'all having a great, productive day today, man. That intro was powerful to me. The things that Dr. Claude Anderson says a lot of times is extremely powerful to me. I've did a reaction to his Powernomics book. I did a reaction to his Powernomics conversation that was held in 1995 and reacted to it. And it's powerful, man, and it's aggressive. And I don't like the fact that our race needs to be taught to aggressive. I think that we smarter than that, and we can, consume information just being spoke to in a regular manner. Even though I love Dr. Claude Anderson, not trying to knock his way and not trying to knock nobody else's way of communicating. But I'm going to talk about some of the important things that he said before we get into this ish conversation that was on the Joe Budden Podcast, the reparations debate. But before we get into that also, I got to go back to the root of where that conversation started, because I see a lot of people going straight to Joe Budden, but the conversation actually started on Mandy B's podcast. And I got the clip for that, but I'm going to talk about the things that Dr. Claude said. He said black folks need a national plan. Staying on code, a national code to be able to create a financial structure that's going to benefit us all. He said we're going to have to learn how to support our own, and from what I see, blacks are not a monolith. nationwide, everybody's experience is different. I had a conversation with my brother yesterday, Rob from Water Guide TV, and we was talking about how our experiences are different based upon the locations that we grew up in. And I was telling him how in my location in Tennessee, you know, I couldn't wait to get away from my community. Even though I love my community and I love my people, I couldn't wait to get away because of the violence, the drugs, the people that wanted to hinder me, the people shootings, it was just too much. And I didn't want my mom and my grandmom and my sister and the people that I love most to have to deal with that for the rest of their life. So I did what I had to do to get up out of there. Even though I would go back and help and all type of stuff, go back and assist, work, whatever I got to do. It's just that ain't where I want to sleep at. Real talk. So he also talked about there's not a black business district like a Chinatown, like a Little Italy. It's nowhere a black business district in the country. Even though I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, this is Wakanda down there. We have banks, we have food markets, grocery stores. I apologize, y'all. Black farmers markets. We got all type of things, man. He said we self-sabotage ourselves. He said we don't have an entrepreneur class. And then he said by 2015, if we don't tighten up and unify, we're going to be a permanent underclass because of all the migrants coming in. The Asian Americans is the race that's growing the fastest. We would think that it would be the Latina or Hispanic race that's growing the fastest, but it's actually the Asian American class based upon statistics. And we are going to be fourth. Even though when he said that, he expected us to be fourth by 2015, and we're still third in 2025 because the Asian Americans hasn't surpassed us yet. But the Hispanics, it's way more than us in the United States. So if we don't tighten up, start loving on each other, stop embracing the LGBTQ community so we can have more babies and love on ourselves, that to me, no disrespect if you do what you do, but that's a sign of self-sabotage and not loving yourself if you ain't creating life with the people that look like you. You can be in a relationship with any race you want to. I ain't judging you, but at the end of the day, we talking about us and we talking about reparations. But before I play the Joe Budden clip, let's see where this all started from.
Why do you not think our community deserves reparations?
For them to give every black person in the United States reparations, it'll cripple the financial system in America.
Can I ask you a question on that? During the pandemic, damn near the entire country got whatever that $1,200 check. Black people only make up 13% of the country. And then unemployment somehow was also able to tax on an additional $600 a week to those people who were unemployed during the pandemic. How do you reckon that 13% of the country receiving reparations would cripple a country that was able to give out? And it didn't cripple us because, let's be very clear, we're still sending money to Ukraine. Everybody else getting money except for here.
One, they ain't give a shit. Number two, and we paying for it right now. The economy right now is in a shitter. And, dog, people don't understand. You had to pay that on your taxes. That wasn't a free gift. So you didn't get no money from the government. If you had to claim that money as income and pay taxes on it, they loaned you some money. And you now gotta pay it back.
Interesting start. How they address that. I'm cautious with my words, man, because when you speak about things that people are so passionate about and you make a statement that is not accurate, that you may not even have meant that way, a whole culture, a whole race of people will attempt to counsel you. I've attempted to counsel people before, but I'm off of that right now. I feel as if no disrespect to anybody that's doing it or still doing it, but I'm more about awareness now. I just want to be aware. The reason I say I'm not counseling people or attempting to counsel people anymore is because counseling people, I would counsel everybody in my life and be in this world alone because I'm not going to totally agree with nobody. That's kind of immature to me. Just because I don't agree with you, your words and your perspectives shouldn't exist no more. I talk to people that I disagree with all the time, but in the area that I disagree with them in life, I just don't mess with them in that area. I'm not going to remove you completely out my life, because later on down the life, you might have an opportunity. You might have some information. You might do something that is of value. So, I ain't on that counseling no more, but I'm cautious with my words. Now, it's said that getting reparations would cripple the financial system now. Sorry, I'm burping again, y'all. When I think about all that money that we was giving Ukraine when Joe Biden was in office, and I don't know if they still giving Ukraine that money uh, during the Trump run or whatever. He just now started 100 days in. I got a lot to say about Trump, but that's going to be on a different episode. Um, that was reparations. She talking about $600 and PPP loans and all of that. That's little money. This is a debt that's owed. It's not a gift. It's not somebody that is looking for a handout. People need to be careful with their verbiage, because they might not even mean no harm. And I feel like Ish saying that it'll cripple the financial system. It seems as if like we're not worth it. He speaks highly of black people a lot. I've been listening to every Joe Budden podcast episode probably since episode 60. It's the best podcast in the business to me. Audio version podcast, entertainment, hip hop culture, and then sometimes they have some educated discussions. But I don't feel like it would cripple the financial system. I think that it would help the financial system. Capitalism, it needs a top and it needs a bottom. It needs a rich and it needs a poor for it to be able to operate correctly. And giving people some money, it shouldn't be like, you concerned about what, quit being, black folks get on YouTube. It's a lot of people that ain't on YouTube too, but folks that get on YouTube and be concerned about what a person gonna do with their money if they was to receive reparations. It don't matter what you do with your money. Do what you want to do with yours, because it's deserved. Reparations, to me, the main reason I might not even need it, but I want it. Other ethnicities and races is going to take those reparations because they want to leave generational wealth for their loved ones after they dead and gone. That's the problem. That's the reason why it's needed the most. Because when you tore down those financial structures that those people was creating in Wilmington, North Carolina, when you tore down those financial structures in those communities that was created in St. Petersburg, Florida, when they tore down Black Wall Street and all of that in Tulsa, Oklahoma, those financial and communities and things that black people created, you hindered the people to come after those people after they was dead and gone. So reparations is needed. Reparations is deserved, because, y'all might got a head start. But at the end of the day, reparations is going to get paid eventually. It's going to get paid in one way or the other. But I want to say something though. I ain't looking forward to it, because I really don't expect it. I want it. I know it's deserved. Right now, the African American Museum, the Trump administration, is taking artifacts and history out of the African American Museum. Clemson University is ending programs that helped black people get into the school, be able to get funding to get into the school. Universities is taking away things and initiatives that was beneficial to young black students to be able to get in. And the reason they are removing these things, we want reparations, but they are currently removing things that is minimal compared to reparations, because they don't want us to be empowered by knowing our history. That's my take on it. They don't want us to be empowered by knowing our history. I know I'm talking my ass off on this episode before I even play the clip, but I'm passionate about us. And we deserve reparations, but looking forward to it. When you see this administration is taking away shit, is crazy. It's actually crazy. When in our reality, we can give ourselves reparations if we unify and protect ourselves and be able to get, you know what I mean, ourselves situated and loved on each other. We can give ourselves reparations. We don't need nobody else, man. Support your own, big dog. Let's get into the conversation, man. Let me shut the hell up. Turn the audio up. I don't even got the audio turned up. Let's do it.
You a controversial question?
Me?
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't thought of it because Flip just said that pro-black shit, which I do believe that you are.
Yeah.
But there's a clip going around of you saying that you didn't believe that black people should get reparations.
Oh, I read that.
Did you?
I didn't see the clip, but I read somebody say that how disappointed they were in him saying that. That he said that because they need financial literacy. He said that black people will, if they get the money, they're wasted or whatever because they don't have financial literacy. What did you say?
I'm waiting for you to finish.
That's exactly what will happen.
No, I'm waiting for you to finish your question. Like,
I think that's what he
I
asked.
was ending your question. What about it?
Do you believe black people should get reparations?
No, I think black people should get equity, and I think the two are different. I think that I'm not really a fan of handouts. Like, I don't want your money. I just want me to be able to make my money and you not be on my dick about making it. I don't think that if we get reparations, we gonna fare any better. Me personally, I don't think that. So I think reparations would be a waste for most. Some would definitely take the money and do some positive things with it, but I don't think it'll get us no better if we not changing how we being treated in America. I don't think reparations going to change nothing.
It's early in the show.
I got to stop it and address his first statements. I don't want reparations. I want equity. So, you know, I met my wife in real estate school. I'm knowledgeable about real estate in its totality, but, you know, I can't just give y'all the definition of equity. He is a real estate guy also. He talks a lot and gives a lot of education on real estate himself during the podcast. So that word equity really caught my attention. So the definition of equity is the quality of being fair and impartial. The value of the shares issued by a company. The value of a mortgaged property after deduction of charges against it. You know, let me read the AI overview. In its simplest form, equity means being fair and impartial, recognizing that individuals may have different circumstances and need an adjusting treatment accordingly. How in the hell can the government that used violence and fear tactics give a people that they don't value equity? Why would they even do that when they just recently considered us human beings? It took them their 400 years for them to even consider us human beings. Why would a people that has been attempting to hinder a government, politicians that's been attempting to hinder people for over 400 years view us as an equal and give us equity? Why?
Good. Go ahead.
No, like, I don't want equality, I want equity. So if you got a 500-year head start and now me and Parks are able to both make $100 a day, Parks going to keep his 500-year head start. It's not.
But if you got twice that much money,
and then I got twice that much money and they still don't change the way that we are being treated, it's going to be futile and useless.
But the way...
Oh, go ahead. No, please.
Because you said before that it's about rich and poor.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we being treated is because we're poor.
No, I think that yes and no. I think
Let me just finish. So if we did get the money, would it change how we're treated because they're not necessarily poor anymore?
No, because they're not going to give you enough money for you to be rich. Reparations, they're going to have to give 13% of the population reparations. And then they're going to decide if you got black blood, if you don't, like when we get the reparations. One, the reparations don't come with a financial literacy package to show you how to use the money to your best advantage.
That I agree with.
That's number one. Number two, it's black people that make a shit ton of money today that still don't do nothing with the money and don't gain nothing in society just because they have.
I had to stop it again, man. I apologize, y'all, because the way we treated caught my attention again. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I should play this thing in its entirety, but so y'all can hear it, and I need to shut up. I'm sorry, though. The way we treat it, you know, a lot of people have a misconception about what finances is. And I'm going to give y'all a rundown of why people have a misconception about what finances is. People think that money equals power, decision making. It's only that when you around people that don't have nothing, it's always people that have more than you. Now, I'm going to give y'all an example how you know money doesn't equal power. It's an easy example. When you look at what's going on in the entertainment and sports industry, when you got billionaires not investing back into their community till it's almost over with, when you have athletes, LeBron James, he is not, man, them people got 400 years ahead of us. We don't know what type of finances they got. That you may view a certain amount of money as a lot of money, but it doesn't equal power and decision making. Laws, rules, and regulations and politicians is what's doing that. If you ain't creating laws, your billions of dollars ain't gonna do nothing. So the treatment is never gonna change. The only way the treatment is gonna change is something that I ain't even gonna say on this podcast because y'all think I'm crazy.
Have money. So I don't think the reparations is the end all be all. I think that's a cop out for me. It's my opinion.
I would just say one, and I get the idea of not taking handouts, but the whole argument of reparations that it's not a handout, that it's owed, right? That it's reparations literally means repair,
Gotcha.
Repair the damage done. So the idea is if you took, like you said, if you got a 100-year head start and you took my money for 100 years, you exploited my labor, and all this stuff was built around our labor, universities, companies, insurance, all
the country.
Yeah, the whole country, right? Every institution. Then giving us reparations isn't a handout. It's actually what we owe, what we're owed. And then the second part of that, I think, is I've never heard people say reparations is either or. You know, I've been part of the reparations movement for a long time, not like a leader of it, but just advocating for it. And every reparations person I know is also asking for voting rights, housing protections, other things. And then the last part of it is I think reparations should be a check. I think every descendant of slavery, to be clear so I don't get hit on the internet, every descendant of American slavery here in the United States deserves reparations.
Gotcha.
But I also think in addition to the check, we should also have access to free public education, like university education. We should also like there's other things you can do systemically to close that gap in addition to the money. So I think we could.
But when we talk about reparations overall, we're talking about a check. Money.
It's two different thoughts.
You taking it when most people, in a general sense, talk about reparations, they talking about a check.
Yeah, I think that's right.
You get what I'm saying?
I think that's fair.
If you said, "Yo, do you think every descendant of slavery should get free education?" Yeah. And again, it just depends on.
Would you, if you got all the other stuff, would you be okay with the check too?
I wouldn't be turned down the check now.
No, I mean as an idea. I don't mean would you turn it down? I mean, would you?
I just think that I don't think it's going to do what people think it's going to do. I think that a lot of times people just be like, "Yo, if my mother worked at such and such, I would be doing better." Or if all of that shit, to me, it's the same ideology, in my opinion. And it's funny that out of that Mandy interview, the shit that we highlight is the one thing that we ain't highlight nothing else.
Oh, I didn't see the Mandy.
We ain't highlight nothing else. All the other positive shit, we definitely gonna go to the negative shit, which I think is goofy, but it's cool. Again, I think
I don't. That was
I think the education is more important.
I disagree with that. I think that you should be able to expound on something that sounds wild in an excerpt. So I brought it up so you could do that.
No, I get it.
That was it.
I mean, we.
I didn't mean for the deep dive.
No, we. How I look at some of these issues again is definitely. I've been up here 4 years. How I look at some of these issues is definitely on the opposite side of many people.
But that's okay.
No, I know. I know. I'm saying I stand in that. I'm not against that. I stand in what I believe in. I think that Dave Chappelle had the thing about reparations. He's like, yo, the Cadillac dealership gonna be empty in 2 days. Shit like that. Like, I just think that
they had a whole.
That's what white people say to justify not giving it.
Yeah, I'm about to say it. And so we cop Cadillacs then.
No, it ain't even just to justify not giving it.
The white boys got all that crypto money and bought every Lambo in the spot.
But I'm just saying, we kind of saw
money.
something similar, not similar, but we saw when people got access to a whole bunch of extra money they didn't expect during
PPP
COVID
and all that shit, yeah.
And look what happened.
I'm of the belief that that's not my business.
True.
I'm not saying that y'all are right or that y'all are wrong. That ain't my business. Somebody go get their check and blow it.
Of course.
It's funny.
Mine in the shoebox still.
This is a side, but it's kind of related. When I was in Nashville this weekend, we went to the country music.
I gotta stop the white boy because he about to start talking about Elvis and all type of stuff that is, salute the I don't forgot his name and I rock with him heavy as hell because he a great engineer. Parks. The conversation was a good and a needed conversation. I don't think that people need to react maliciously about this. It was a viral conversation. I rock with Ish still, even though his perspectives is different from mine. Mark Lamont Hill corrected him on some things because he was speaking as if reparations is a handout. And salute to Mark Lamont Hill for correcting him on his terminology. But when you be on these podcasts, you got to be accurate with your terminology because people are going to hold you to the fire. They're going to hold you to the fire. This is normal on the Joe Budden Podcast. I don't know if people even watch the Joe Budden Podcast that's giving commentary on this debate. They just giving commentary based upon it being a viral moment. And they want to have something to say to get their base conversing. I like the fact that Joe Budden mentioned that, why be concerned with what people do with what they're owed and what their money? Why are you even concerned about it? That means that you have some sort of feelings towards somebody else getting some money. People perceive that these are rich people conversing. I just think that they're content creators and they're good at it and they got a good, they created a lane where they can make finances from it. I don't consider them rich individuals. My take on what rich is. I think more of these conversations need to be had. More debates need to be had about reparations because, I hear a lot of people talking about it, but when I think about nobody has a structure for what we want and how much we want and how it's going to be split up. There's no structure. It's just all talk, my opinion. Now, before I go, I want to give y'all 5 things that I wrote down. Why I don't care about the government and the politicians giving black people nothing. I want it. I want us to create a structure for it, but I don't care about them giving us nothing. And the reason why, I'm going to break it down to y'all too. Number 1, welfare. Everything that they created was not for our best interest. Everything that they created had an undertone of hindrance, of hindering black folk. Welfare. Think about this. For you to obtain welfare and get these free benefits or whatever, the man can't be in the home. Now the family structure is broken up. Men growing up and kids growing up without a father. Welfare. 2, immigration. No, not immigration. I'm sorry. Even though that might be one of them. Integration. We was fighting to be integrated. Before we was integrated, we had our own leagues, our own things. We had our own communities. We had, what did Dr. Claude Anderson talk about? I wrote it down. We had our own black business districts. We had a plan. We were supporting our own. We got integrated. We got comfortable and start being dependent on politicians and government. Am I lying? 3, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Who did that benefit the most? Not us. That's all I'm going to say. 4, affirmative action. Who did that benefit the most? White women, My opinion. Do your research on it. I done read the books and did my research. Affirmative action may have helped a few, but it wasn't specific for us. When have they done anything specific for us? Reparations, I want them. I think it's a debt that's old, but I think it'll have an undertone of hindrance. I don't believe that the government is looking out for the best interests of black people. Never have, and I don't think they ever will. It's up to us. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to my show, man. Peace, love, plenty, abundance. Make sure you go get you some money. Hit that like button. Share the show. I'm gone. Chill.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.